guys, it is your girl Nat here. Today I wanted to talk about the 4 things, in my opinion, that makes architecture school extremely hard. Number 1 is you need to think a lot. I touched on this on my 16 things I wish I knew before I started studying architecture. Some of the comments you guys actually laughed about me like, oh, of course you have to think, but let me break this point down a little bit further, okay? Design, generally speaking, you are tasked with solving a very complex problem, and you need really good critical thinking skills. There are so many distractions in this world that it actually becomes very challenging to critically think. If you think about it, the way the school system is set up and established, at least in America, you aren't encouraged to work with others. You aren't allowed to really work together to find the right answer. You always have to find the answer yourself. Whereas I think in an educational system where we can work in a more collaborative environment, really play to each other's strengths, that's more beneficial. We aren't encouraged to cheat and consult help. Now, if you do have the wrong answer, you are criticized. Failing is a part of life, but school really makes the whole failing part 10 times worse when it really should be embraced. So a good architecture school actually has to re-educate you. Having a creative solution to a very complex problem is probably something you've never done before. That is why I was so shocked with how hard architecture school actually is because 1, it's subjective, and 2, you have to think so hard to get to a solution. Number 2 is the pressure. And what I mean by this is that the goal of architect, and basically our code that all of us follow and our top priority, is going to be protecting the safety, well-being, and welfare of building occupants. And that is a huge responsibility. And if you think about it, all building code that we architects follow nowadays in written law are because of catastrophic events that weren't ever, possibly imagined. The profession has been around for 10,000 years if you really think about it, and there's just so much knowledge that you need to learn. It's such this incredible responsibility that you have, and the pressure can just be a lot. And this really goes well into my 3rd point. And my 3rd point is that architecture encompasses a lot, and I have 2, side notes for this. So the first one being, you're gonna work on art projects, you're gonna work on construction projects, buying a hard hat, you're gonna learn how to run a business, you're going to learn the history, and next thing you know, you're a history professor of architecture. There is so many components, moving components that comes with architecture, and you have to learn them all and be comfortable with everything. And my 2nd point of this 3rd point is that your project too encompasses a lot of stuff, a lot of moving components. It is going to be a challenging design problem that you are tasked with solving. It's going to take multiple iterations, and maybe your solution isn't the right one, and there really is no right or wrong answer, but it's challenging and it's tricky, and thinking is a lot harder than you would think. It's very tricky. And you have to visualize your solution from multiple points of view, in the eyes of the occupants, in the eyes of the building owner. You have to be creative, and you have to take risks, and sometimes that's a really hard thing to do. It's a lot easier said than done. And my 4th point is that it's super time consuming. It is such a time consuming major. It's ridiculous. And it's probably because there's so much to learn in such a short span of time. And also, I would just like to say, if you have good, effective time management skills, you don't need to pull an all-nighter. I have a time management video that you can watch up here. Lastly, studio itself is super competitive. I think that also greatly contributes to the time spent in studio. If you are a competitive person, you can learn a lot from staying in studio, but I would also encourage you to go outside of studio and make a bunch of friends outside of architecture school. Not only will it help you in your studio classes and give you a break from architecture, but it really broadens your point of view and perspective of the world, talking to multiple groups of people from multiple backgrounds and cultures and different majors and everything in between. College is a precious time. Make sure you enjoy it, and you don't want to be sitting on your floor looking back with any sense of regret. So really enjoy your time, because it will fly by. All right, well, that is it for today's video. I hope to see you guys next time. Love you guys.